Most people in the Muhammadan Muslim world, as well as in the West, who support the cause of the Palestinians, do not actually know the facts behind the conflict. In their perception, the Palestinians are the underdog, the David against the Israel Goliath. According to your research, is their understanding correct?
Three of the greatest tragedies of humanity are ignorance of facts, the refusal to learn from the best teacher of all time, history, and invariably the escape of the simplest truths from their attention. Ignorance allows the individual human being to be controlled, deceived, and manipulated by mostly selfish, arrogant, and unprincipled leaders. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and humanity assiduously repeats it in almost every generation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an unfortunate reality that the simplest truths and facts invariably escape the attention or the intellect of most human beings, as I shall presently demonstrate. Most of the peoples that we know of, such as the Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians, Greeks, Persians, Romans, Egyptians, Aztecs, Mayas, Chinese, Mongols, Europeans, etc., etc., have left their mark on history with their writings and their monuments. The Palestinian people obviously should also have left their mark. If our academics, historians, politicians, and others are so sure that Palestine and its people go back throughout most of recorded history, one would expect them to be able to answer a few basic questions about that country of Palestine and its people. When was Palestine founded, and by whom? What language did the Palestinians speak? What writing did they use? What manuscripts have they left? What was their religion? Where are their temples? What monuments attest to their existence? What were its borders? What was the name of its capital? What were its major cities? What constituted the basis of its economy? What is the name of the currency that they used? What was its form of government? What achievements have they accomplished? What other peoples did Palestine interact with? Where can one find any records wherein the name of the country of Palestine and its people are mentioned? What archaeological sites can one name? Where can one find the recorded history of these people? Whom did they conquer, or were conquered by? Was Palestine ever recognized by a country whose existence, at that time or now, leaves no room for interpretation? What was the prevalent religion of the country of Palestine? Can anyone name at least 5 Palestinian leaders before Arafat? And finally, since there is no such recognized country today, what caused its demise, and when did it occur? Those who are lamenting the low sinking of a once proud nation, please tell us, when exactly was this proud nation brought down? Also, what was it so proud of? If the people arbitrarily and mistakenly calling themselves Palestinians are anything but generic Arabs collected from all over the Arab world, if they really have a genuine ethnic identity that gives them the right for self-determination, why did they not declare their independence between the years 1948 till 1967? After all, during this long period of 19 years, there were no Israelis in the West Bank or Gaza. There were no settlements, and there was no so-called Jewish occupation. Why did these Palestinians not declare their independence after 1948, but allowed themselves to be occupied by the Jordanians in the West Bank and by the Egyptians in Gaza? Why did the media and academia in the West not mention that occupation and oppression not even once during the whole of its 19 years? Why did not the UN have a single resolution about this occupation? Why did this allegedly proud and ancient people wait until after the Arabs suffered their degrading and devastating defeat in the 6 Days' War at the hands of Israel? Did they, all of a sudden and miraculously, find their alleged peoplehood and nationhood? I hope that everyone should avoid the temptation to trace the modern-day Palestines to the biblical Philistines, because substituting etymology for history won't work. The truth should be obvious to everyone who wants to know it. Arab countries have never abandoned the dream of destroying Israel. They still cherish it today. Having time and again failed to achieve their evil goal with military means, they decided to fight Israel by proxy. For that purpose, they transformed the Arabs of Judea, Samaria and Gaza into an ad hoc group and cynically called it the Palestinian people. How else can one explain the refusal by Jordan and Egypt to unconditionally accept back the West Bank and Gaza, respectively? The so-called Palestinians have only one publicly and repeatedly declared motivation, the destruction of Israel, and that, as far as I am concerned, is not a good enough reason to consider them a nation. It is one of the most remarkable of ironies that it was Muammar al-Gaddafi, the Libyan leader who addressed the recently held Arab Heads of State Summit, that brought to their attention the very questions that we asked, and then added insult to injury, the following: the only way to achieve peace in the Middle East is for the Arab countries to acknowledge and accept Israel, and to pay Israel reparations for the more than 50 years of devastation they have visited on it. In conclusion, can anyone show the world any proof to indicate if there ever was an entity called Palestine, and its people the Palestinians? And if not, why not?